What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to teach you guys how to cut more efficiently with your time. Let's get it. Something like that. Something like that, something like that. Cool. So first things first, even before you start cutting, you got to get into the habit of keeping your station clean. If you keep your station clean and you put the stuff back to where you found it, you will never have to waste time looking for your tools, right? So pick up the clipper. Once you pick up a tool, you will do whatever you need to do with it before putting it down. If you choose to put it down, make sure you put it in the same place you found it. The first step in cutting more efficiently, okay? Let's just say the consultation is done, right? It should be run. Let's just say the cut is 35 minutes. I'm gonna break it down to 5 minutes, greet, make the client feel comfortable, consultation. The second and third step is to cut the sides or the top, right? That's 10 to 12 minutes. And then the last 5 minutes is educating your clients and checking the client out, right? So that's 35. Before the haircut starts, as you're giving the consultation, you are building a roadmap for yourself, right? Checking to see if he or she has dents in his hair, right? Checking the density, asking him or her what hairstyle they're going for. I usually take care of the top first, so I can see how it reacts and how it sits before cutting the sides, okay? Today we're giving him a mid fade. It was a one mid drop fade, I believe. He has a pretty flat head in the back, so we're gonna drop it here. So I'm building this roadmap now. So when we say efficient, right, we're not telling you to rush, but we're trying to make sure that your time is well spent. So first things first, I always got the top first, right? He's going for a textured fringe. So this top section should cost you no more than 10 to 12 minutes. I see that the hair parting goes in the opposite direction, so I know that these hairs on the corners need to be a little longer than the front, okay? Making sure his fringe looks, because his fringe is going to be the focal point of the haircut, right? So I'm gonna just check it, pull it down. So I see that there is a shorter piece here, so I'm gonna just leave that. Like this here, adding texture and removing length. Okay, now that's set. This piece is a little bit bunched together, so I'm gonna go in there. Now that's set, it's a little bit more even. Now, it looks like the back was just a little bit too short, so we're just gonna maintain that. It doesn't look like the length is too crazy, so I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna add some texture. I believe 3 minutes has passed by. It's just focused on time right now. But this is when you are getting to know your client, right? This is when service comes in. You built your roadmap, you know what you're doing in your head, and you're asking the client how he's doing, learning 3 things about him or her. Okay, let's just say I am shortening lengths and I'm adding a little bit of texture, right? This should all take no more than 12 minutes. I'm gonna leave the crown area. Maintaining the length in the back, looks okay. Now let's just say I save time here, so I get to have more detailed work later. I think I spent maybe 5 minutes doing the top. All right, let's just say he has longer hair and you're cutting it down to short, it might take a little longer, but because of this situation, we're not gonna spend too much time. But you get the idea, no more than 12 minutes cutting the top. Now, most important step when debulking is the clipper over comb, all right? Cutting efficiently using clipper over comb. When you master clipper over comb, you're gonna be saving so much time. This is where you build shape and fade at the same time, okay? So we're gonna go 1 to maybe a 2, okay? So you're gonna use the mirror, check the shape, check whatever shape he has now, and you're gonna create a better shape for him. I see that the right side is poking out a little bit more, so I gotta focus on fixing that versus this side. This side looks okay. The bottom, you don't have to worry about fading too much, just removing weight. Pulling out at a 45-degree angle.
Do you really need to section off the top and sides?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't. I would just let it be because I want to see how it sits and how it connects. Good question. Because what happens is if you section it off, sometimes or most of the time when you clip the hair, you notice when you take the clip off, there's a solid line and it doesn't connect, okay? So I like to just leave it natural. Or sometimes I even like to dry the hair before I cut the sides. Okay, this side was poking out a little bit more, so I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive on this side. Okay, so that's done. Top section should be shaped correctly. So you don't gotta worry about that anymore. Shape is how it looks from the front. The shade is how it looks from the sides, right? I'm not talking about this shape right here. Okay, just shape, shade. Okay, now we're gonna go into the shade. So I'm gonna put my tools back into where I found it. We want a 1 fade. I'm gonna grab my 1, grab the same thing, and now we're gonna start fading. How I do it, I go around the whole head first. Some people like to go one side, connect. I'll go all the way around first. Gentle push. Another thing is with efficiency, right? If you are talking about shade, you wanna be standing where you can see the mirror and see the client. Okay, so, and closest to your tools. This is ideal right here. I'm gonna cut, check at the same time, okay? And when we're talking about efficiency, right? I'm never going to make solid lines. Always using my C-stroke. Creating a soft guideline, okay? So you're gonna go through your first guideline with many strokes, but fast strokes. Making sure that you don't miss anything, you don't have to go back, right? Most people will switch the guard, but because we're talking about efficiency, we're just going to open the lever because his head is very flat in the back, so we gotta maintain that weight. Okay, we're looking for symmetry as well from the front, so I'm going to step behind him now after I did my first step to make sure that both sides of the guideline is straight. And if you feel like it's not cutting, right, apply a little bit more pressure or use your corners. But you see I haven't switched any guards yet, any extra steps until I'm done fading this area. So here's another tip. When you guys get better at this, you're gonna be using something called a feathering motion where you'll be kind of floating above the head. If you stand in front of our boy right here, you'll see that I'm floating. And that will tie into the 2, tie into the 1.5 while fading the 1 out. Keeping my elbows tight, wrists loose, listening to the clipper. Every stroke should have intention. Check in the mirror, right? I don't have to move anywhere. If I see a dark spot, I'll go over it, making sure that 1 line is gone. I'm gonna move into my 1.5 to finish the shape, okay? Okay, pretty much good. Those dark spots I'm gonna get rid of with the 1.5, okay? Once the 1 is done, right, the fade is pretty okay. Now we move on. Turn around, blades right here, guards right here, boom. Move on to the next step. Always start opened, just in case, right? Or start open, going against the grain to get closer. But yeah, the idea is to have a game plan. Don't go back and grab tools and cut with intention with every stroke. And the only reason why you would ever have to go back is for detailing, right? But you wanna just use up the tool that you have in your hand as much as possible. See, I didn't move much when it comes to fading. I'm in a position where I can see the client, see the mirror, with just a turn. Looks all right, looks like some dips in his head, right? We're gonna get rid of that with the thinning shears. Okay, so the fade is faded, the fade is done. Now, we're gonna go into the lineup. So, he wants a taper, light taper on the sideburns. I always like to line up first, just because there is more hair for me to line up with. Line up first. Be very gentle, but very accurate. Once it's lined up, then I'll go into my skin tapering or my light taper. Okay, you can use this time to clear his neck as well, to save time. I'm gonna ask myself, do I need to do anything else with the tool in my hand? Okay, so that's done. Put my tools back, grab what I need to grab, put the tools back. Okay, now we're gonna skin this out. I'm gonna start halfway just in case. Open it all the way. He had a 1, right? So should take no more than 10 seconds. Now we have this tool in my hand. Stick to it, moving into the tapers. It's not really cutting, so I'm gonna close a little bit. Sort of like a cheat sheet, guys. Start with a bigger guard, ask them if it's good enough. Sometimes the client will be like, yeah, it's cool, and then you just saved yourself some time. Now we're gonna attack some dark spots. Okay, usually the back is when it's really, really thick. You just go in there. Couple snips here, couple snips there, just to ensure some light goes through. Be very gentle so you don't create holes. And if you do this in an area that has a lot of hair, there shouldn't be any situation where you create a hole unless you go too crazy, unless you're trigger happy. And now the last 5 minutes is to educate your clients on the products. Okay, you're just gonna dry the hair towards the back to the front, and don't stop until it's all dry. Finishing touches. Mess with the fringe, pull it down a little bit. His hair likes to split towards that way, so we're gonna take the hairs and kind of twist it towards the middle. So at this point, you guys are going to be giving him a recap to save time, okay? So what I gave you was a 1 fade, 1 drop fade, light taper on the sideburns, textured fringe on the top, skin taper on the neck. Is there anything you see me to change?
Oh, no, nothing.
Was okay?
Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Last